What's a deep, dark secret you've never told anyone? Story 1. When I was in school, we were really poor. My mom would often cry about the bills. I used to sneak my lunch money back to them by hiding it in the laundry, jackets, the car, or her purse. They were always so happy and relieved to find extra cash they thought they had forgotten about. Story 2. When I was in high school, I had a potted plant in my room that looked a little like a mini palm tree, with a bare stem and a head of stringy leaves at the top. At some point, I decided the soil in the pot was a convenient place to release whenever I masturbated. This went on for a few weeks, but eventually the ants found it. For several days, there was a constant stream of ants going to the plant. During that time, I kept adding fresh loads for them. Eventually, it seemed like they decided it was such a good location that they would move in. I noticed them carrying in little white pellets that I assumed were eggs. There were also a lot of winged ants that showed up and just hung around at the base of the plant. I kept the colony fed for months, and sometimes I would just sit and watch them running around with their little white egg pods, or whatever they were. Unfortunately, I don't really remember how this story ended. I think my mom probably noticed the ants and sprayed everything, killing them all. But for a little while, I had this strange feeling of protecting a colony and nourishing it. Story 3. My girlfriend got extremely sick while we were sleeping next to each other, like roll off the bed and cover the floor and vomit sick. I don't have the stomach for that, and I started feeling sick too. Before I could get out of the room, I vomited all over her trash can. I immediately ran to the bathroom to finish, and then her roommate, her sister, came running in. She'd heard me rush out and wanted to see what was happening. There was vomit everywhere, an unbelievable amount for such a small girl, and it covered almost everything. Her sister got my girlfriend into the shower and asked me to watch her while she started cleaning up the disaster. It took a while, and my girlfriend threw up a few more times from what we later found out was food poisoning. Eventually, most of it was cleaned up, and I put her back in bed. To this day, I haven't told a single person that it wasn't all her vomit, that I had actually been responsible for the other half of the mess. Story 4. When I was about 15, I stayed with my cousins for a week. I was playing Gran Turismo 2 on the landing where their PlayStation was set up, while my 14-year-old cousin was in the shower. When she finished, she opened the bathroom door and hesitated before stepping out. She saw me focused on the TV, then quickly came out holding a small hand towel over her front and slipped into her room, which was right next to the bathroom. Clearly, there hadn't been a bath towel in there, and she thought I wasn't paying attention, so she was safe. But in reality, I glanced up at the landing mirror just after the door opened and caught a clear view of side boob and her backside as she ducked into her room. That left me with some very confused feelings about her for the next few years. Story 5. There was one opportunity one had, just once, where, if given the chance, I absolutely would have hooked up with my cousin. Yes, roll tide, ha. It was at a family reunion. She was a cousin only by marriage, close to my age, and someone I'd only met a couple of times before. Tall, pale skin, dark hair, curvy in all the right places, completely my type. There was immediate sexual tension between us. I felt it clearly. Still, no matter how attracted I was, I kept things as neutral as possible in how I acted around her. What I didn't count on was how friendly she'd be with me. She invited me to hang out, just the two of us, and watch a movie together. We talked for a while, got to know each other a bit more, and then moved into the TV room to watch Dirty Rotten Scoundrels on DVD. We sat on the couch, inching closer and closer, enjoying the movie, but with that thought in the back of my head. I fully intended to see where things between us could go. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, depending on who you ask, we got interrupted. We thought we had time alone, but family started trickling into the room. Soon after, it was time for family activities, and our plan was cut short. The disappointment on her face was impossible to miss, and it hit me hard. Looking back, I still wonder what could have happened. I know for sure that if things had gone that way, I would have gone for it. Story 6. My ex gave me herpes and lied to me about it the entire time. The crazy part is, she doesn't even know I contracted it. Toward the end of our relationship, I accused her of having herpes, and it turned into a full-on physical assault. Punching, choking, ripping my shirt, the works. No, I didn't lay a hand on her. I just got the hell out as fast as I could. She was a real peach. By the time I realized what she'd done, our relationship was basically over. I never wanted to admit it to her. I didn't want to give her the satisfaction. Now, years later, I still can't bring myself to date anyone. I don't know how to admit it, how to bring it up, or when to say it. Obviously, it's not something I would ever hide from a partner. But because of that, I've just accepted my forever single fate. My friends and family constantly ask about my dating life and why I'm still single. They just assume my ex messed me up so badly that I've become some kind of woman hater. If they only knew. Story 7. Not the deepest or darkest, but if I hadn't done it, things would have turned out hugely different for my brother. When we were younger, my brother was the typical lad. Always had girls around, mostly chasing after him. He treated some of them badly, never violent, cheated often, and saw himself as a player. He had a couple of longer-term girlfriends, but the last one he was more into than the others. The problem was, she was high maintenance and would deliberately wind him up, making him so angry that he lost his temper with her a few times. He never got violent, but once he came close, he held her up against a wall, and that's when he realized he needed out. So he ended the relationship. After a short time, she started messaging and calling again, saying she wanted him back. This went on and off for months, and it really bothered him that she wouldn't understand he was serious. Still, he started coming around to the idea of getting back with her. Then, me and him accepted work a couple of hours south of our hometown. During our first week there, we went out drinking and he lost his phone. He had to get a new number, and just like that, contact with his ex was broken. After some time, she came back up in conversation. He said he loved her, missed her, but knew she wasn't good for him. Then one night, she texted me asking to talk to him. I was surprised it had taken her so long to realize she had my number. I replied, telling her he wasn't interested and that she should give up. She never replied, and she never messaged again. I know that if I had given my brother her number, they would have gotten back together, and who knows how badly things could have gone. Instead, many years and several relationships later, he's with a woman he truly loves. They're good for each other, and they have kids together. He has no idea what happened, and I'm sure he wouldn't care now, but it's something I'll never tell him. Story 8. A few years ago, I noticed I started losing my emotions. I didn't think much of it at first because I couldn't, and still can't, afford therapy. I also thought it would pass on its own, but it hasn't. What really brought it to my attention was when my so asked what I would do and how I would feel if she died. I thought about it, and nothing came to me. I couldn't even imagine myself being upset. I lied and told her I'd probably be depressed for 6 months to a year and then eventually work my way out of it and start looking for someone new to share my life with. I only said that because I knew it's what she wanted to hear. She has this thing about not wanting me to be alone. She smiled and went back to watching TV. I kept thinking about other important people in my life dying. Honestly, I didn't care. My youngest brother just got his Eagle Scout award. We had a ceremony and everything. I didn't feel a thing. I think my mom might be noticing because she asked about my mental health at my brother's celebration, but I lied and said I was just really tired. I know she's too busy moving to bring it up again. I haven't told anyone because I don't want them putting their lives on hold to try and help me. By November, I'll have a couple of debts paid off and will finally be able to afford therapy, which will be good for me because I've got more baggage than just this current lack of caring. Story 9. I was really horny, but my family was around, so my solution was to take a shower and handle it there. At the time, I didn't have a phone case since my old one had broken. I was getting pretty close in the shower, so I went to set my phone in the basket on top of the toilet where my wallet and other stuff was. Instead, I accidentally dropped it on the tile floor, and the screen completely shattered. I immediately realized I couldn't easily explain this to my dad, so my plan was to finish my shower, get dressed, then go to the basement stairs, slip down them to get scratched up, and let my phone fall. I went upstairs afterward with a bleeding knee and a broken phone and said I'd fallen down the stairs, and that's how it broke. My family immediately gave me sympathy, and I didn't get in trouble. Nobody knows that I actually threw myself down the stairs and didn't just slip. Looking back now, I realize I probably could have just said I fell, but at the time I felt like I had to actually do it. Story 10. I'm just a lurker, but this simple, stupid question brings up a lot of heavy feelings. Since I don't have anywhere else to vent, I'll let it out here. I don't have one particular deep, dark secret, but there are so many sides to me that I've never shared. I can't even bring myself to see a therapist because I'm afraid there's too much to unpack, that it would never end. I'm scared I'd be teasing myself by even thinking about professional help, that I wouldn't be able to explain everything, or if I could, I wouldn't be able to stop talking. This feels freeing, but I know it would keep me wanting more. At one point, I was lonely, depressed, living by myself, going to school with no friends. I had a big flat with no curtains, but I spent all day in the dark bathroom watching Battlestar Galactica. I hated sunlight. Of course, I was horny and a bit perverted, so looking for a hooker seemed like a good idea. I found an ad for a legal but very young girl. Something felt off. I could tell she was broken. We started chatting. She was real, smart, educated. Two broken people fell for each other. My perverted side and her brokenness thought it would be cool for me to watch her with other men for money. So I did. It was the most self-harming thing I've ever done to myself and to someone else. It still hurts and disgusts me, but without that experience I wouldn't be who I am today. Everything comes with a price. She's married now. I'm so sorry, but I know in some way we saved each other. Later, still in that mindset, I kept looking for ways to express myself sexually. I wanted to feel like a slut. I'm into pegging, anal, sexually open-minded. I was in an okay relationship. Well, not really. I once gave a man oral sex in a car for petty cash in a side alley. It was disgusting, but I wanted to feel degraded. It was self-harm. I'm okay with it now, but it still makes me cringe. I know that behavior came partly from the experience above. Now I'm in a relationship that's hard but freeing. I almost cheated on her. Another girl started to sit on me when my partner was out of town, and right then I stopped, put on my pants, and went home. Technically, I still cheated. That's the darkest secret I have based on my own moral values. I disrespected something real. I'm sorry, Em. You're a hard person to handle, but you'll never know this. This is my wrong to live with for the rest of my life. And there's more. My deepest secret is that I hold moral, intellectual, and philosophical values high, but I keep excusing myself. I feel like a bad person, but still love myself. I feel fake, but don't think I am. I'm afraid I might be a sociopath, but I'm not. I'm just broken, a chameleon. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, activate the notification bell, and share a similar story or anything you'd like to say in the comments. See you next time.